And hello, Hearts of Oak. Thanks so much for joining us once again. And it is great to have Dr. Sherri Tenpenny back with us once again. It's been a while, which is completely my fault. But Sherri, thank you so much for giving us your time today.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Great to have you, and so much to discuss. Obviously, people can find you there at Busy Dr. T. There on the screen, and all the links are in the description. You can follow Sherri on X, on Twitter, and everywhere else she is. But maybe we can start asking you about your latest book. I know it's only been published probably 3 weeks ago. I have not had a copy in the UK here. I will get a copy because I always love the work you do, Sherri. You're a key figure, and you're not part of the central stream. And I think it's so important to listen to many voices on the tyranny that we face in many aspects, but a zero accountability in a failed system, how Big Pharma weaponizes vaccines, public health, and the law. And all the links will be in the description. But maybe I can ask you.
I love the picture. I love the cover. My staff put the cover together, and it's just so ominous, which is kind of the way the book is.
Tell us about it. What brought you to write this book?
Well, actually, it started in the summer of 23 when bird flu was starting to kick up. And I wrote a book back in 2005 called Fowl, Bird Flu is Not What You Think, spelled F-O-W-L. Fowl, Bird Flu is Not What You Think. And I wrote it in real time as it was happening in 2005. And one of my staff members got a hold of that book because it's been out of print for quite a while. And she got hold of the book and she read it and she said, "This is so good. You need to just re-release this." And so I have a PDF file of it, and I was looking through it and I thought, there's good stuff in here, but it's a 20-year-old information. And it was a lot of political things that I wrote about Bush, Bush 2 and his policies and what was going on with the government. So I said to my staff, I said, I can't do that. I mean, I just can't re-release it. And Jackie said, "Well, then you need to rewrite it." And I said, "Well, okay." And so I said, "But you have to understand that if I take this project on, it's going to be a big project, and I won't be able to do much else in that time, because when you write a book, it sort of takes on a life of its own." So I started with the bird flu of 2020, the bird flu of 2005, and kind of compared it to what was happening with bird flu of 2023. And then as I dug into the history, back into it again, how long bird flu has been around since the 1800s, and all of the different things that happened during the Bush era of Tamiflu and the PrEP Act that was developed at that period of time, which gives them even more liability protection than the 1986 Act did. And as I started going through and kind of laying out the history, a couple of the chapters just really took over when I started talking about sacrificed for the greater good and the 40-year march to 2030, and started talking about the Healthy People program that here in the United States, how it completely corrupted and co-opted our medical system, and it took us into the international realm of vaccination. I dig down through Gavi and talk about all the international vaccination problems. And then I talk about, the weaponization of our healthcare. And that started with the Healthy People program and the electronic medical records that then co-opted into Medicare. And Medicare is a really hot item here in the U.S., and people don't really understand it. And they think that it's just another insurance that the government pays for, and it's so much more than that, and so much more nefarious than that. And when I started looking at the covered countermeasure injury compensation program that was actually put together in 2005, and I saw that all the people who've been injured and all the people that have died from the COVID jabs are going to be completely thrown underneath the bus. There is no way that they are going to get any compensation or any look-see to that. And it was pretty interesting, Pete, because, I've been doing all things vaccine for 25 years. I mean, seriously, the only time, the only time I'm not reading about it, investigating it, and talking about it is when I'm asleep. And so when I stumbled into that program and into the bowels of that CIC program, I was infuriated. And I was like, how did I miss this? How did I not know about how bad this was? If I didn't know about it, and Dr. Suzanne Humphreys, who wrote the foreword to the book, and she and I just were talking the other day, and she said, I didn't know about that either. So here's two people who live their life informing people about problems associated with vaccines and really didn't even really know about this completely horrible covered countermeasure injury compensation program, which is CICP for short. If we didn't know about it, it's no wonder that the general public didn't know about it. And the general public, when they got injured, they filed a VAERS report. 1.6 million people filed an injury report with the VAERS program, but that's the wrong place to file a complaint. And I say in the book, and I talk about the fact that it would be like if you went to the Bureau of Motor Vehicles here in the U.S., is where you get your driver's license, and you tried to get a plane ticket. They both have to do with transportation, but you're in the wrong agency. You can't get a plane ticket at the place you go to get a driver's license. Well, you can't get compensation if you filed an injury claim with VAERS. And the timeline is only a year. You have 1 year to file it. There are incredibly horrible caps, like only $50,000 lifetime